Ladies and gentlemen, evidently the shutdown has not worked the way the Democrats wanted. They expected the nation to direct their anger towards Republicans and then come out in massive droves to vote for the Democrats in the midterms. On surface level, that's a reasonable strategy, except Republicans are growing in popularity according to CNN's polls. Before I play this, I should also remind you that for the first time ever, the majority of Americans are placing blame for the shutdown on the minority party, so the party not in power. That's unprecedented.
Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats.
I think this shutdown is the best thing Republicans have ever done for us. They usually go to Congress with all these promises, but only end up serving the military-industrial complex, awarding them with these sweet, beautiful, lucrative contracts, while the deficit and the national debt keep growing at alarming rates. But with the shutdown, we finally get to save some money. The EBT warriors on TikTok are filling my feed with tears. The salt is enough to flavor all the food in America at once. It's not that I want people to suffer. Of course not. I'm not cruel. But 40 million Americans being on food stamps is genuinely concerning. That's 40 million people that rely on the government to be fed. And I love this quote. If the government has the power to feed you, it also has the power to starve you. A very important lesson. That you should work for yourself. You shouldn't open your legs and let Tyrone give you 8 kids, so now you live in the hood on Section 8, and you need all these EBT benefits. For your own sake, it's important that you lose these benefits. Perhaps it teaches you to make better decisions. That's a topic for another day, but the shutdown has somewhat restored my faith in the country. Most voters, if we're being honest here, have goldfish memory. On both sides, we all kind of practice a political bias. This isn't to describe myself, but most Trump supporters just ignored the Epstein situation after Trump said to ignore it. If Biden did that, we would have a problem. The Democrats openly ignored when the nation had an open border. In fact, they gaslit us by saying the border was safer than ever. We literally saw the opposite happening. Both sides practice biases, so it's pretty doubtful that independents specifically would have the right view of this shutdown. I thought they would blame the Republicans and ignore the fact that Democrat senators were needed to reach the 60-vote threshold to end the filibuster. But it appears the voters in the middle see exactly what's going on. And the voting base in the country is really split in 3 ways. 33% of voters are going to be Republican, 33% are going to be Democrat, and then in the middle you'll have your 33% independents, your non-party voters, and those are the ones you usually have to convince. All you have to do with the partisan voters, if you're a politician on the right or left, is get them psyched up to vote. Get them ready and motivated to go to the polls on election day, or in some cases in Democrat states, 4 months before the election, because these people just love early voting. But with the voters in the middle, you actually have to convince them. You have to draw them in. The midterm election is happening as we speak, and Republicans are currently winning it, especially after you do all the redistricting that needs to be done. Also, imagine what would happen if the Supreme Court overturned the portion of the Voting Rights Act which forces states to create these boundaries that make no sense just to make sure black voters can vote Democrat. That would be a true game changer. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. Let's see what happens with the shutdown and who wins, who comes out on top. God bless and goodbye.